Well, in the ongoing saga of bad guest behavior at theme parks, as we have another entry from Disneyland that is very similar to a previous incident that also happened in Disneyland. So not sure what's happening out in Disneyland that's causing this, but we're going to talk about it in this video and give some thoughts on it. So hi, I'm Jared with Capture the Magic. This is from The Independent. It says, Canadian man arrested for wandering Disneyland completely naked. So shocked onlookers watched the streaker climb across Tiana's Palace in New Orleans Square. It says Disneyland guests were left aghast. That's a good word. After a trespasser was filmed roaming around the theme park naked and exposing himself on top of buildings. How did he get up there would be the first thing I would wonder. Police said they arrested the man in New Orleans Square, an area inside the park in Anaheim, on Saturday evening for trespassing, public nudity, and being under the influence of narcotics. I have a feeling that's an ongoing trend we've seen in some other ones where people have decided to strip down, at least many times, to their underwear. I would assume there's other things influencing the behavior. The suspect has not been identified, but the Anaheim Police Department told ABC7 that he is a Canadian citizen. Footage circulating on social media shows the man standing completely naked on top of Tiana's palace. He's going that way. One person can be heard screaming in the video. Oh my gosh, the person behind the camera added while being ushered by a person who appeared to work for Disney, who pointed a red light and apologized for the incident. Another video obtained by the local news station shows the suspect throwing his hands in the air before climbing over the railings of a balcony and walking across a canopy of Tiana's palace. There were no reports of anyone being injured in the incident. So the best footage of this is, again, from Instagram here. This is from A Magical Disney Day. So it's another naked man at Disneyland. Only difference is this one's Mickey's Mouse is showing. And yeah, that guy is on the roof. Like, how? I mean, I guess there's things around to climb up there, but yeah, how did he get up there would be the question, I would say. I don't know what possesses somebody to strip down naked and get on top of buildings in a theme park. This has happened before. I will show a little bit about that. This is not the first time this has happened at Disneyland. It seems to be a trend, perhaps, of certain substances being used, and this is the reaction of that. Obviously, you have families and children around, not an ideal scenario, and really nobody wants to see that. You know, nothing to cap off a nice day at Disney in the theme parks whenever somebody climbs up on a building naked just to flail around, I suppose you could say. Inappropriate. One interesting way to spend your vacation or time at a theme park. Around social media, some of the comments was waiting in line for the train, turned around and saw a nude man flailing everything on top of Tiana's. Said he climbed up the stairs and walked along to the roof, then was on the canopy. Second person commented, I was there last night. Another Instagram user claimed all the commotion makes sense now. So disgusting. It's supposed to be an enjoyable place for kids. Another person said, agreed. So the incident comes almost 18 months after a 26-year-old man was arrested near It's a Small World attraction. And that story is this one right here. Stripped down naked and got out of his boat on a Small World for whatever reason, and they drug him away. Gosh. I mean, you know you've hit some bad points, like decision-making in your life when this happens to you. You're being drug away by the police, naked in a theme park. If that's not your bottom, if that's not the low point of your life, I don't know what else would be. This incident, again, was last year. Yeah, 2023, or a year and a half ago. Says a man was arrested after stripping naked at Disneyland on Sunday afternoon. Just after 1:30 p.m., officers responded to Disneyland to assist Disney security with a guest who removed his clothes and was naked in a near It's a Small World attraction. Upon officers' arrival, they arrested a 26-year-old man for indecent exposure and for being under the influence of a controlled substance. Shocker.
Mm-hmm. I'm proud of you, you know that. I hope you do.
A Disneyland resort representative told Deadline that the man got off the attraction while it was in motion, and park operators stopped the ride when they became aware of the situation. Footage shared on social media shows the streaker fully nude in the water canals near the entrance to the ride. Other videos show the man walking around the ride sets and touching its animatronics, wearing only shorts, while Jingle Bells plays in the background.
Beautiful.
It says in one video posted on Instagram by guest Megan Carmona, people can be heard yelling, please stop, and sit down, while other guests voice concern that the man will break the ride's props. Someone said he just looked out of it. He just didn't look like he knew where he was. He looked worried. My friends and I had seen him, and it looked like he was going to jump on us. Again, I would say similar substances involved. And to be fair, this isn't just a Disneyland problem, because you're probably wondering, oh, surely there's been a Disney World incident. Well, there was. This is back, not actually after the one that happened in Disneyland of It's a Small World. A drunk man strips to underwear and claims he's being kidnapped while being trespassed from Walt Disney World property. This is in March. Oh, this is reported in 2024. It's happened in March 2023. A South Dakota man was trespassed from Walt Disney World property and eventually arrested after slapping a female Disney security guard's rear end.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
More choices. All right. According to an arrest report released months later, this happened at Three Bridges Bar and Grill at Disney's Coronado Springs when Andrew Ticknor, 36, open hand slapped the Disney security guard on her left buttock. Security guard, unnamed in the police report, did not want to press charges at first. So as long as Ticknor was trespassed, but she later changed her mind after speaking to her manager. Eventually, Ticknor left the hotel in an Uber with his father, and the Orange County Sheriff's Office planned to forward charges to the state's attorney office. He was visiting Walt Disney World with his family, who remained on property after he was picked up. What a way to spend your trip. Ticknor's arrest came later when he returned to the hotel room at Coronado Springs and the resort manager called law enforcement. He was promptly arrested, and Disney issued a second trespass. And there was body cam footage. The video that was out there with it isn't there, but he was arrested in a very interesting look on his face. The footage is about 44 minutes in length, chronicles the aftermath of the incident in which police arrive on scene to trespass Ticknor, as well as his arrest after he was spotted sneaking back into the hotel. It says Ticknor continuously taunts and pushes the police officers and at one point strips down to his underwear when he was handcuffed and made to wait for his rideshare to remove him from Disney property. He began screaming for help and that he was being kidnapped and shackled.
Help me, Jesus! Help me, Tom Cruise!
Ticknor pleaded not guilty to two first-degree misdemeanor charges of battery and trespassing, and his trial dates were canceled. So I guess he didn't end up getting in much trouble for this, I would assume. But we had a video last week talking about somebody that was walking to Hollywood Studios on the path between Epcot and Hollywood Studios, stripping down to their underwear and destroying $1,000 worth of something in a kiosk. Now, to be fair, I don't think all this is alcohol. This is obviously, a lot of people will point to alcohol. I think this is other substances that have become much more prevalent out there. And just perhaps in a theme park setting, people either have too much to drink, they take a little too much of something, or first time they take it, and you have some bad reactions. For me personally, I'm just not somebody who likes to take many things. Like, I have a drink now and then, but I'm kind of a control freak. I don't like being not in control of situations, especially if I'm on vacation, with my family. So for me, it's very perplexing that people go this far with things, especially in public settings. I suppose it's one thing if you're in the comfort of your own home, but it's another thing when you're at a theme park, there's kids, there's families around, and end result is, you losing articles of clothing and climbing on top of things. Not a great thing. There's also an incident that happened at Epcot where somebody got drunk and climbed the temple or the pyramid that's in the Mexico Pavilion. That did happen a few years ago. So these things happen from time to time for sure. Now, in terms of how to stop them, I've talked about it numerous times. I think you're going to start seeing a lot more systems in place at both Universal and Disney, and I've talked about it before again. Universal has a patent for an AI system that essentially is supposed to monitor guest behavior that could cut guests off they've had too much alcohol. It would alert team members very quickly. If somebody's cutting lines, if somebody was cursing, someone's smoking, you're going to see more of these things in theme parks just because of the liability. And also just if an incident happens and let's say something really bad happens and somebody else gets hurt, things of that nature, it becomes an issue for the theme parks. And that's definitely something they don't want to deal with. So I think in the short term, cracking down on these things more, banning people from the parks is one way to go about it. I don't think it's going to eliminate the behavior, but I think in the long run, you're going to see much more systems in place that are going to monitor guest behavior. They might see a trend of somebody, acting erratically in the parks, because I'm going to assume in all these incidents, there were things that happened that led up to the big culmination that we see in these articles. So I would assume that the person that climbed on top of Tiana's didn't just randomly do it. They were probably acting irrationally or doing other things before that incident happened. And if you had systems in place that could perhaps track that, you might be able to prevent some of this. At the very least, watch the person closely or ask them to leave or ask them, say, hey, are you okay? Like, you might see more things in systems like that where it could potentially intervene before something escalates to the point where they're climbing on top of things naked and getting escorted out of the park.
How dare you?
So, I mean, you know, on a human level, these things will continue to happen in not just theme parks, but in just life in general. It's just become a thing. A certain segment of the population is going to behave, you know, not behave how they're supposed to behave. And unfortunately, that can ruin or affect the enjoyment of other guests in a theme park. So, honestly, I know people are against a lot of AI stuff sometimes or monitoring guest behavior, but really the guest behavior at this point, more and more of these incidents, and obviously more of them being talked about with social media, I think they have the impetus to do it. And I think they will do it. And I think for most people, they're not going to be bothered by these systems because, you know, most people don't go to theme parks and cause these types of problems, but the people that do tend to ruin it for everybody else. Things like this will bring that those type of systems online, I do believe. And don't be surprised in the next year or two if you start hearing more about, you know, preventative systems coming online to try and prevent a lot of this behavior. But, you know, luckily nobody was hurt. It's kind of comical in many ways. I'm sure if you were there with your family and your kids saw this stuff, that wouldn't be very funny. But, you know, looking from the outside in, it's kind of comical on some level, sad on another, and not really surprising on yet another level. I'm sure there'll be more of these to talk about in the future. But either way, that's going to be it though for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about all this? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.